animation.
Hi guys! So, 5 billion years ago on Facebook, I saw these Chameleon markers, and I just saw them at Hobby Lobby the other day, and I thought I would buy them because, yeah. And I thought I would buy them. So obviously this isn't sponce, unless buyer's remorse and impulse control issues are sponce, and in that case, very sponce. So, these Chameleon markers, they're kind of weird because they've got these, like, cartridges in them, and I picked up these thinking that they would also be markers, but you take off the cap, and you can't swatch it. It's not a marker, it's just a cartridge. Because the super duper special thing about these is they gradiate with themselves. Like, you take the marker, and you take this little cartridgey bit out, and you can use the nib tip, or the brush tip. No, you can use the brush tip or the nib tip, and you can, like, put it on the thing, and then gravity does its magic, and I have to wait for the magic to happen, and I'm still waiting for the magic to happen, and I'm still, okay. And then the magic has happened, and then you get, like, a little gradation thingy going on. And you can also do that with colors, and these cartridges just help change the color. I think you can also, like, put the color on this part and switch it between the markers, but I'm not advanced enough for that yet, so I'm just gonna keep to, like, using these and using the light gradations when I do an actual test thingy. So let's just go on and do a quick little switchy swatch test. I can obviously only do it of the ones that are actual markers. I can't do the swatch test of these things, which kind of annoys me. And also, they roll everywhere. They're not like Copics where they just, you know, sit still and be nice and behave. Nope, they just roll. They just go everywhere. It's like the original Prisma markers, but even Prisma fixed their stupid marker in their new ones because their newer markers actually have little thingies that stop them from rolling. So yeah, I don't understand. Also, the nibs are really, really similar to these types of Prismas. I don't know if these have a specific name. It's the nib and the brush tip Prismas, not the chisel and the nib tip Prismas. And Copics obviously are the brush tip and the chisel tip. And I think Copics provide the best of both worlds because I don't like the nib tip very much. I don't use it very much. And also, it's really difficult to use for these specific markers because the brush tip helps provide better blending, and these markers are all about blending. So I don't know why they didn't just go with a chisel tip, but I didn't design the marker, and I probably shouldn't be allowed to design things because if you guys are watching this video, you know that I'm pretty terrible at keeping to one subject and talking about one thing. Obviously, this is a swatch test. I don't know if I need to, like, go into detail about that. But right off the bat, the color that has annoyed me the most is this color. This is this color. This is the color. It's not one of these. This is supposed to be this color. I didn't switch the caps on you. And I think I actually have that Copic marker over here, and it's called Flesh. And it looks, this one actually, like, you know, looks like the color that's on the cap. This one, I don't really understand. And they have these, like, color names, which, you know, like the N, because what Copic markers do is they tend to have, like, colors that are of the same family. But the thing about the Copics is when you swatch them, like, you can tell they're in the same color family. Well, if I were to do that with these ones, they obviously look like they're in slightly different color families, which is a little interesting. Like, I would consider these ones draw from yellow, this one draws from red, and this one draws from, just like a earthy tone, I would say. Like, this one's a very, very much so, like, kind of earthy color, like, copper. It doesn't really liken to burnt umber, because to me, burnt umber tends to draw from red, and this is just generic brown. Actually, I think I legitimately have a burnt umber Copic, which is the exact same color. And this one, it's actually about the same, but I kind of like the tones of this one better. Like, I think this one gets, like, a prettier shading. I know these look exactly the same. I know they look exactly the same. But the thing is, Copics get darker and lighter, while these tend to just stay in one shade unless you're specifically using the actual swatch function. So, I think I've kind of gone into everything about these markers. I'll do a quick little, show you how the blending thingy works. Where, these only work with gravity. These don't work if you, like... I grabbed a really dark color. I shouldn't use dark color with that. These don't really work if you, Don't get the caps mixed up, by the way. It's really easy to do that. These don't work if you hold them side to side. You specifically have to do gravity, which makes it incredibly difficult to film the actual merging of the colors, because it works with gravity for some reason. It's some kind of science. And something you're probably going to notice about these markers is if you, like, flip it, then you, like, get a different sort of shade. So it's sort of difficult to draw with these drawing markers. Also, it's really easy to get the caps mixed up for these middle bits. So it's interesting. It's very interesting. I would do a swatch test of these for you, but I legitimately can't. I've blended them a few times, but I mean, I don't really know what the color has to offer because I'm just seeing them mixed in with these really neutral tones. So I'm gonna go ahead and do like a drawing video for you, because that's what we do in— oh my god, please stop! Because that's what we do in the YouTube world. Alright, let's try to actually color with these bad boys. This is a picture that I already colored with them. The shirt is Copic, but the rest is colored with it. And funny story, I drew this picture and then I showed my buddy and he's like, "Hannah, why did you copy my pose?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah, I guess I kinda did." So I redid it with my buddy doing the pose, and I'll actually show his Instagram and stuff. He's actually really cool. And so now I'm gonna color this with my fancy new markers. And yeah, let's see how this goes. So Cody is pale F, so I'm just gonna go ahead and gravityify that. Now something I don't like is I feel like the brush tips wear off really, really fast. I feel like they get really worn down. I mean, they are replaceable, but I would just like more longevity out of my marker, I guess. I wish I could get like a sharper edge, because Copics fade to a really, really nice sharp edge, but these don't, I think. Alright, so let's just go into these Beats headphones here, and that actually created like a really nice shade. Wow. Okay, I like that. I don't hate that. I'm not offended by that. Something fell on the ground. It was a cap. What is the cap to? God, these things roll everywhere. Let's make these— these aren't gonna be Beats, these are gonna be Deets. Deets headphones. So yeah, it's a Deets headphone. So his shirt's actually blue in the picture, but I don't have a blue to shade to, so we're gonna do purple. Alright, so final opinion on these markers is it's all fine. Like, I think that they're really not that bad for the price point. They're about half the price of Copics. I got a 5-pack for $20, while I believe a 6-pack of most Copic markers is like $50. So they're cheaper than Copics and they kind of do the same thing. But my only really, really big issue with them is the gimmick kind of breaks down the marker. Alright, let me try and quite literally illustrate what I'm talking about the nibs not being too crazy good. So, let's find the master marker, because I dropped the cap and I haven't found it yet. So, the problem with this is the nib— I've owned this marker for a day. I've literally colored, like, the first dude and a little bit of Cody with this picture, you know? And already the nib is just out for, like, just not doing what it's supposed to do. And now you can I can't get a sharp line anymore. I'm just getting like literally brush strokes out of it. And a color that I haven't used very much. You see, like it happened to this one too. Now when they started out, they were actually fairly firm, and they were doing a really nice job getting a better sharp tip. But as you just blend them and you do what literally they're supposed to do, they start to break down. I haven't owned this marker very long. I've owned it for like 24 hours, you know, and it's already starting to dissipate. And yes, the nibs are replaceable, but I think that's a really big issue with the marker if your product's literally breaking down after being used for what it's supposed to be used for, you know? Like, I've got Copic markers that I have used tried and true time and time again, and the tip is still doing what it's supposed to do. And it still creates a sharp, nice point. So I think that the nib is actually like better on Copics, but it might also just be a flaw in the marker in that they break down doing the thing that they're supposed to do, because you're always touching it against this little white part in here. So I'm ambivalent. I have impulse control issues, so I'm probably gonna buy more of them, but that's definitely an issue that I've noticed. If the marker already looks really spotty and I've only owned it for a little bit, you know, while a Copic marker that I've owned for tried and true, longest time in the entire world, like, gets a nice solid color really fast, you know? While with these ones, you kind of have to build them up a little bit, and it takes a while, and you don't get it, and you get streaks in it consistently. I don't know if this makes any sense. You can check them out if you want to. That's just my review of them. That's my pros and my cons. I don't think I even listed. I think I just like trashed on these markers for like 5 hours. But yeah, hope you enjoyed the video, and bye! Actually, a pro to these markers I literally found out by accident. If you happen to lose a lid, and you have a bunch of these cartridges laying around, it's not a problem anymore. Yeah, so I guess that's kind of a pro. That's a little bit cool, because if you lose a Copic lid, you're basically SOL. I don't know if that's gonna make you go out and buy a bunch of these markers and cartridges, because I think I hated the cartridges the most, honestly. But yeah, that's kind of cool. Alright.